I'm outside right now going for a walk. I started my day a little late and I'm actually in like a residential area. There's a school nearby, so I just have to be extra conscious of where I'm walking because there's people out in their yards and people in their cars. Sometimes people feel a certain way, if you're walking around recording. It's just an invasion of privacy, so I try to be careful and respectful. But maybe this will be better. So as a part of this episode of Dream Diary, I think that's what I'm calling it now, Dream Diary, I'm actually going to stop this video and make sure that the volume is working because I don't want to tell the whole story and find out nothing was working in the audio. Okay, well, so I had a dream last night and it was so weird. It was like one of the weirdest, most random dreams I've had in a while. And I'll just go ahead and start telling what the dream was. So I was trying to recall what was happening in the dream because it was like, what is going on in this dream? All I can remember at the top of my head is this old friend of mine that I used to have connections to. He was in the dream and I haven't seen him in forever. Like, it's been a long time since I seen him. But we used to be really cool and we would see each other often and have a good time. But in this dream, just gonna work. Oh, it's super bright out here. It's like super bright. So anyways, in this dream, I saw him and he kept like telling me like, hey, let's go somewhere. And I was like, okay. And he led me to like this like forest or Amazon foresty place. There was like a lot of trees that circled around this pond and like this island. And there was a lot of lily pads and frogs. Not even frogs, they were toads. Like those giant toads and lily pads. And there was a lot of greenery around. And I don't understand this dream. So when I'm talking about it, it just sounds crazy. So he led me to like this like pond island. It was huge. It was like a big circle pond and it had like an island in the middle with like grass and rocks and dirt. And he like kept like going up this like hill that was on the island and sliding down the hill where there was like a bunch of rocks and dirt, stuff on the ground. And is this gonna work? I don't know if this is gonna work. It's so loud over here. There's a damn school. There's a lot of traffic around here. Okay, I'll cut to the chase. So my friend, he led me to this place where there's like a pond. You know, I already described that. So he's sliding down like as if it's like an amusement park. He's like crawling up the hill and just kind of like, I don't, you know, when, you know, maybe some of you did this when you were kids, but if you get up on a grass hill, like a very inclined grass hill, and you lay down like horizontally and you roll down that grass hill horizontally, it was kind of like a little dopamine rush as a kid. It's like little things that people did when they were kids. They just, what's that? It looks like a Selena shirt. Anyways, again, I need to be respectful and mind my business. Well, he was doing that. He was rolling down like this dirt hill, and there was like chunks of bark and dirt and like grass, and the hill led down to the pond where there was like, the pond was like covered in micro lily pads and lots of green, like microgreens that was covering the water. As he was sliding down the hill, like, I'm like, what are you doing? And he's just like, oh, it's fun, I'm doing it. He kept sliding down the hill, and I'm looking at him, and as he's sliding down, like there was like frogs and toads that were like kind of rolling underneath him. Like it's almost like as he was sliding down the hill, he was sliding over the toads and the frogs that were like near this pond. And there was a bunch of them, a bunch of toads and frogs that were kind of blending in with the pond and all the greenery. And I look around this pond, and there's like hundreds of toads, hundreds of lily pads. Like there's so much green. And I look at him, and he's like about to get inside the pond, and he gets in the water and is just playing around with the toads and the frogs, like having fun with them, kind of having a sense of fun, or like kind of like a free spirit. Like he was like in a childlike mode, like wanting to play around with like the animals, and or not really the animals, but what does a frog or a toad count as? Is that a mammal or whatever? I don't know. Anyways, that was happening in the dream. I saw a lot of toads and frogs, and he was playing with them and rolling around with them, rolling around in the nature. And I was just like, in the dream, I don't even remember what I was doing, but I remember him. He was my friend. He's very playful and kind of youthful. Like I could sense that he had like a youthfulness to him, and he liked to have fun. But also, I understood that like at some point he was going through some like physical pain. He was going through some like physical pain because he had got into a bad car accident, and he really injured his back. I think he said that he broke his back, and then at some point he injured his leg. He's having problems with his leg, and so it was hard for him to walk. Overall, it's hard for him to walk, and overall it's hard for him to move around. And he shared with me his history. He used to be a swimming coach, or he was a swimming coach, and he used to teach sports. I think he was a coach for a few different sports for youth, and really well in shape guy. And I guess that changed for him. But also some other things happened to this friend of mine. His mother passed away, and he loved his mom a lot. I mean, who doesn't love their mom a lot? I know a lot of people have certain relationships with their parents, especially their mothers. is sometimes they can be problematic, toxic, but they can also be really beautiful and carry an abundance of longevity. And I see that in other families, and I see that in other people. And this one, he just demonstrated that he really loved his mother, and she passed away. And so every time I reach out to him to talk to him, he wasn't really in the mood to talk. He kind of pushed me away a little bit. And it wasn't the first time that he pushed me away, because we lost touch a couple times. We did lose touch a couple times in the past. Like, something would happen, and I think that happens a lot to people, you know, between friendships. Like, your friend, they break up with somebody, or they move, or they switch jobs, and they just kind of, they take time away to process. They take time away to, I guess, explore that different chapter they're going through in life. And they kind of, I think that people, they might be trying to find themselves again when they go through those transitions, because when you go through certain like changes like that, it has to do with your identity and how you see yourself, and how you see this new chapter you're in life. And like, it's really sad, like, when you understand that your friend is going through a loss, especially like the death of a parent or a sibling. You want to be there for your friends, but sometimes they push you away. They want time alone. You don't want to force yourself on them, because, you know, you don't want to help where help isn't like welcomed. But I can't imagine like losing my mom or losing my sister, and having to realign myself, and how to like find myself and re-identify myself after losing somebody and experiencing death. But you know, some people out there, they're very immune to death. They are so immune to death, and it just happens a lot. You know, losing a friend, losing a relative, it's just, the more it happens, the less you process death and grieve over losing somebody, just because it happens often. But I don't know. Yeah. I need to sit in the shade real quick. So I was walking over there and talking in front of the camera, and just as I explained, like, you know, before I began recording this video, that I need to be courteous and respectful of the surroundings, especially in a neighborhood. If I'm walking around recording, I need to be respectful. I wasn't pointing the camera at anybody or anything. I think I was trying to be quite like casual or passive about it, but the guy, he walked outside of his yard and onto the sidewalk, and he was checking me out, trying to see what I'm doing. So that's why I'm just gonna like record inside. When I'm inside my house and private, I think it's best to record, especially if I'm out in public. I don't want people to think I'm recording them. I don't want people to think I'm talking about them. I don't want people to interfere. And that's gonna happen a lot. Like when you're out in public and you're recording, people are gonna interfere. I think it has to do with them. They always internalize things. So I can't really remember the rest of my dream that I had, but that was the dream that I had. Everything else in the dream, I can't recall. Very loud. They've been doing a lot of recording and filming in my neighborhood. They record on the other street over there on Workman by a church for Euphoria. And here, I forgot what this street is called. I'm not gonna say it, whatever. They film the part where that chick, you know, the stripper, who she went to rehab. She went to go stay in like a halfway apartment. I think that was the apartment that was filmed. Anyways, I can't fucking remember the rest of my dream I had, but I know it'll come to me later, the dream that I had. So I'll just end that here. A pond with lots of luscious green plants and mammals, frogs, toads, lots of big old toads and frogs and things. So I'll end that here. Okay, let's see what else I can come up with in my memory bank about my dreams, because I've been having some weird dreams. Forgot to mention, the reason why I'm having such vivid dreams is because I'm taking medication. A silly little pill called Wellbutrin. But even before medication, I have some pretty vivid dreams. Some dreams that are pretty predictive about what's going on. And I think that's why I'm doing this, is because I just want to somehow keep track of the things that I see and how they relate to what's going on right now, or even what's going on in the past. It's just how the brain processes things. All right.